Hey, how you doing? It's Al Higgins here from dramsdelivered.com. I'm here today to guide you through our lovely new tasting pack, which I have here, which is on offer from the 20th of February through to the 5th of March. We have 6 really great drams here to try, so I'm going to taste them now and guide you through them one by one. First up, we are going to try this one, the Arran 21st Anniversary Special Edition, which has been matured in ex-sherry hogsheads and was a very special release of just 5,988 bottles, bottled at 52.6%. I'm going to try it without water, but you might want to try it with a little drop of water at home. So let's go. On the nose, very fruity with orchard fruits, then some baking spices, like sort of pastries with a bit of spice, toasty oak and wood, a slightly nutty and honeyed character as well. And let's go for a little bit of a taste. Those kind of pastry notes again, like sort of fruit danishes, that kind of thing. Has a bit of spiciness with some ginger and cinnamon going on. Then some dried fruits, orange peel, and more fruitiness, more sort of orchard fruits and things like that. As the finish comes along, we're getting a bit of oaky spiciness, some tannins, more of those baked fruits and pastries. But a very nice dram from Arran, who tend to have a sort of impeccable sherry character to the whiskies that have sherry casks used in them, and this is no exception. It really has a nice sort of clean modern style of sherry influence there. So we'll move on to the next one, which is the Glenallachie 15-year-old. Glenallachie, of course, was taken over recently by Billy Walker, who gained his fame by rejuvenating distilleries such as Glenallachie, where famously he recast a lot of the whiskey into sherry casks, particularly PX and Oloroso, and that's exactly what he's done here in Glenallachie in his new place. So this is a 15-year-old whiskey. It would have started off mostly in bourbon casks, first fill bourbon casks, but then it's been those casks have been moved on into Oloroso and PX. So this is classed as PX and Oloroso matured, but it's more like an extended finish, so to speak. Anyway, on the nose, very gentle and refined. I think anyone who might be used to drinking Glenallachie, this is a bit more soft and subtle, less leathery, if that makes any sense to anyone. Lots of vanilla, raisins, dates, milk chocolate, then some cocoa powder and other sort of baking things in there, baking spices. Let's go for a taste. It's very refined, sweet, with nice syrupy mouthfeel. More of those raisin fruits again, but they're sort of dialed down a little bit. They're sort of they're not full on. They're kind of playing around nicely with the maltiness of the whiskey. Some sort of gentle things like treacle toffees, chocolate, vanilla, some honey. But overall, it's a very nicely balanced whiskey with a sort of softness to it. Very easy drinking. On the finish, it certainly becomes a bit more fruity again on the finish with things like blackberry and maybe some jammy notes, and then finishes up with a bit more sort of spicy oak and tannin there as well. But very enjoyable and very easy to drink, and if you like this one in this pack, move on to some other Glenallachie ones. They're making some great whiskies at the moment. On to the next one, which I doubt anyone has probably tried. This is our very own Connemara Cask. I don't know if you can see that properly in this strong light. These were bottled for our bar in Killarney for the Celtic Whisky Bar in Larder, and it's using Cooley single malts, but finished in our own PX barrels. And this is approximately 15 years old, so quite interesting to compare and contrast it to the Glenallachie, which is also 15 years old, because this is also a sherry finish. This was distilled in March 2001, bottled in May 2016. I'm getting some similarities on the nose. I hope some of you are familiar with chocolate bourbon biscuits, but that's one of the main things I'm getting. A little bit of a sort of leatheriness as well, roasted meats, blackberry jam and some raisins. But quite nicely gentle, sorry. A bit like the Glenallachie as well. It's immediately more pronounced in every way though. When you taste it, there's a very sweet, syrupy feel to it, some spiciness, and then some dark berry fruits, treacle, raisins, yeah, lots of nice spice, but sort of heady sort of spices. I think maybe even some clove in there, and a bit of chocolate and oakiness. Moving on to the finish, it becomes firmer and drier with an oakiness and some oak tannins. But a bit like the Glenallachie, it's a nicely balanced whiskey. There are no off tones there, but everything is a bit more pronounced. Maybe a bit less refined, but everything turned up an extra notch on the volume dial. Some really nice raisined fruits and cocoa on the finish. I hope you like this one because we like it. So yeah, that is the Connemara Cask number 7 in PX. Moving on, we will try this one, which is a Tobermory, 21-year-old, but finished in Manzanilla cask. So Manzanilla, dry sherry, similar to Fino, if anyone knows Fino. With whiskey, in terms of maturation, it can be a bit tricky. The best examples have nice sort of fruitiness and salty character. We'll see how this one goes. So this is a Manzanilla finish, one of 5,508 bottles, and bottled at 53.8%. The nose is quite light and fresh. There are some slight sort of sea spray notes there, but overall I'm getting a more sort of citrusy, like orange pulp, preserved lemons, lime jam, if anyone remembers that, the Rosie's lime jam, pear drops and some almonds. The palate is quite different though, quite savoury and salty. But there's a nice evolution there. It moves from that savouriness to fruitiness, and now I'm getting some spiciness as well. Quite a unique whiskey to try. Yeah, I hope you like this. Now I'm getting some more citrusiness as well, like roasted pineapple or barbecued pineapple, some citrusiness, and some nice sort of salty nuts as well. The finish is quite firm and dry, and some oak tannins like some of the other whiskies here. It really does taste like a 21-year-old whiskey. You know, there's no denying that there's some age there, but very nice. Yeah, definitely want to try again, I think. We'll move on to something really quite special now, which is our very own Redbreast single cask, 2001, and filled into a first fill sherry cask, single pot still obviously, and 58.6%. One of 600 bottles. On the nose, baking spices again, raisins, dates, prunes, a lot of sherry character. This is undoubtedly a sherry cask whiskey. Fruit and nut chocolate, blackberry jam, blueberry jam, and some sweet licorice. Let's try the palate. It's really powerful, very pronounced sherry character. A little bit like the Connemara Cask and a little bit like the Glenallachie, but a lot more going on, a lot more complexity. The oak is quite prominent as well, so you're getting a lot of that spiciness, a tannin. A bit like a rum in a way. There's some definite notes like a sort of Demerara rum, something like that. Treacle pudding, melted chocolate, spiced fruit bread such as Stollen, and of course Christmas cake, which is a classic note for any sort of Redbreast, but especially the single casks. And a lot going on. Definitely becomes a bit drier and more spicy on the finish, but in a very nice way. It kind of rounds it off, so you get that sweet, forceful sherry at the beginning, and then it becomes drier, more oaky as it goes on, and then finishes off with an interesting sort of savoury note as well. But fantastic whiskey, yeah, really nice. It'd be hard to choose my favourite. I don't think I can, but this whiskey here, the Connemara Cask 155, Amontillado sherry cask finish. This is a pretty special one for me. It was one of the first single casks we did at Celtic Whisky Shop, and it was certainly, other than some that we'd done in wine cask, it was the first sherry cask whiskey we did. And we were very happy with it at the time. You can't, of course, buy any more bottles, but you can buy a dram from dramsdelivered.com. But the nose on this is, it's a little bit like an Islay whiskey. You know, being a Connemara, it's quite peated, smoky. But there's a gentler touch there, which I think you find with all the Connemara whiskies. There's a nice sort of fruitiness and almost like a floral touch as well. But I'm getting here smoky bacon crisps, a bit of a sort of wood workshop kind of smell when someone's been cutting wood and it's overheated, and you're getting a sort of singed wood or singed paper kind of smell. And it's things like old rope, campfires, beach campfires, Hessian sacks, but a nice citrusy and vanilla backbone there as well. And let's have a taste. Initially, it's surprisingly sweet and fruity, which is very nice. It's almost like tropical fruits, like pineapples, guavas, mango. And then you're hit with the smoke, which comes in sort of waves. And it's like a dry wood smoke, not like a Scottish Islay whiskey where I sort of would say it's like a wet sort of campfire. This is quite a subtle and refined smokiness in a way. And then you're getting some spices as well, like cloves, cinnamon, mace. The finish is quite firm and oaky, but very complex. A very rewarding whiskey to try. If you like it, buy some more because there's not a lot of it around, a few bottles left maybe. And that's it. So I hope you'd enjoyed watching this video. 6 great whiskies. Buy a pack. The offer is on until the 5th of March, and after that we'll move on to another pack. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.